You know that feeling when you walk into a room and forget why you came. That split second where your purpose dissolves, leaving you standing there like an actor who's forgotten their lines. I used to think that was normal. Now I know it's a warning. It started 3 weeks ago at my night security job. Graveyard shift at the Meridian Corporate Center. 37 floors of glass and steel that housed insurance companies, accounting firms, and other businesses that thrived on human predictability. My job was simple. Walk the rounds, check the doors, make sure the building didn't burn down or get robbed while everyone else slept. The thing about working nights is that time moves differently. Minutes stretch like taffy, and your internal clock becomes this unreliable compass spinning wildly between exhaustion and artificial alertness. But I had my routine down to a science. Every hour, on the hour, I'd start my rounds on the 15th floor and work my way up to 37, then back down. Each circuit took exactly 43 minutes. That's why I noticed when my watch read 3:47 a.m. and I was standing in the 23rd floor break room, holding a cup of coffee I didn't remember pouring. The coffee was still hot. Steam curled up from the surface like tiny question marks, and I could taste the bitter aftermath on my tongue. But according to my log, I'd finished my 3 a.m. rounds 20 minutes ago and was supposed to be back at the security desk. I checked the coffee machine, still warm. The pot was half empty, and there was a wet ring on the counter where my cup had been sitting. Physical evidence of an action I couldn't remember taking. I wrote it off as fatigue and headed back downstairs, but something felt wrong. The elevator buttons seemed to glow a little brighter than usual, and the mechanical hum sounded almost musical, like it was trying to tell me something. The next night, it happened again. Same time, 3:47 a.m. This time, I was in the bathroom on the 31st floor, washing my hands with soap that smelled like artificial pine. The water was running, my hands were sudsy, and I was staring at my reflection in the mirror above the sink. But I had no memory of climbing those extra 14 floors. No memory of deciding I needed to wash my hands. I dried them off with paper towels that felt too real, too textured, like my fingers were hypersensitive to every fiber. When I checked my security log, there was an entry in my own handwriting. 31st floor bathroom check, 3:47 a.m. All clear. My handwriting, my pen, my words, but not my memory. I started paying closer attention to my watch as 3:47 approached each night. I'd position myself at the security desk, hands flat on the surface, eyes locked on the digital display. 3:46:55, 3:46:56, 3:46:57. And then I'd blink and find myself somewhere else in the building. Always a different floor, always doing something mundane, straightening a crooked picture frame, picking up a piece of paper that had fallen behind a desk, adjusting a thermostat. Small, insignificant actions that someone might perform without really thinking about them. But the actions felt important, in a way I couldn't explain, like I was maintaining something, keeping some delicate balance in place. I started leaving myself notes, little reminders placed strategically around the building. Remember this moment, taped to the elevator panel. You were here at 3:47. Stuck to the bathroom mirror. Check your watch, pinned to the bulletin board on floor 26. Every morning after my shift, I'd find these notes exactly where I'd left them. But they felt like messages from a stranger. The building's day security guard, Martinez, mentioned something odd during our shift change one morning. He said the night cleaning crew had been reporting tools moved, trash bins repositioned, supply closets reorganized. Nothing stolen, nothing damaged, just rearranged, as if someone was trying to optimize the building's efficiency while no one was watching. I requested the security footage from 3:47 a.m. for the past 2 weeks. The timestamp showed me moving through the building during those lost minutes, but something was off about the footage. The movements were too purposeful, too deliberate. I watched myself walk directly to specific locations without the hesitation of someone exploring or patrolling. I moved like someone following a predetermined script, someone who knew exactly where they needed to be and what they needed to do. But here's what really unsettled me. In every piece of footage, right at 3:47, there was a brief visual distortion. Just a flicker, like old television static. And then the image would clear and I'd be in motion, as if those few seconds between 3:46 and 59 cents and 3:47 minus 1 cent existed in some pocket of time that the cameras couldn't quite capture. I started staying awake during the day, researching temporal displacement, dissociative episodes, anything that might explain what was happening to me. The internet had theories about time slips, about certain locations where the normal flow of time becomes unstable. Old buildings, places where thousands of people had performed the same routines day after day, year after year, might somehow record those patterns and play them back under the right conditions. But those theories assumed I was experiencing someone else's routine. What if it was the other way around? What if I was the one creating the pattern, and my conscious mind just wasn't invited to participate? Last night, I tried something different. At 3:46, I set my phone to record video, aimed it at my face, and waited. I wanted to see what happened during that missing minute, wanted to catch myself in the act of becoming someone else. The video shows me sitting at the security desk, staring intently at my phone screen. At exactly 3:47, my expression changes. Not drastically, just a subtle shift, like someone had adjusted the focus on a camera lens. My eyes become more alert, more purposeful. I stand up smoothly, walk out of frame, and don't return for 43 minutes. When I reappear at 4:30, I look confused, disoriented. I pick up the phone, stop the recording, and sit back down. That's the me I remember being. But for 43 minutes, someone else had been using my body. Someone who knew this building better than I did. Tonight will be my last shift. I've already submitted my resignation, effective immediately. But before I leave, I'm going to try one more experiment. I'm going to leave myself a note where only the 3:47 version of me will find it. Something he'll have to respond to, something that will force him to acknowledge that we share the same body. Maybe he's been trying to communicate with me all along through those small actions, those subtle rearrangements. Maybe he's as confused about this arrangement as I am. Or maybe he's been waiting for me to finally notice, waiting for me to ask the right questions. The clock on my desk reads 3:46:30. My heart is beating faster than it should be. In less than 30 seconds, I'll cease to exist for 43 minutes, and someone who looks exactly like me will take over. Someone who apparently has important work to do in this building, work that requires precision and secrecy. 3:46:45 now. I can feel it approaching like a tide I can't escape. The fluorescent lights seem to pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. The building feels alive around me, as if it's breathing slowly and deeply, preparing for something. 3:46:55. Time moves like honey. Each second stretches impossibly long, giving me enough space to wonder. What if this isn't happening to me? What if I'm the interruption, the anomaly? What if the 3:47 version is the real security guard, and I'm just the ghost that haunts his working hours? The clock turns to 3:47:00, and If you're wondering what's real, maybe you should sign up for the channel's newsletter for new stories